So now we have, I'm going to move over to video just for a little bit. There's so many things that can happen. One of the things is framing your shot. You want to make sure that it looks good on your camera and that people are in the right place. This is what you see through the camera lens. What we look at is what we call the rule of thirds. So the rule of thirds has your screen split into 9 zones, okay? Your top third, your middle third, and your lower third. And then you have a left, center, and right third. Typically, you want your speaker to be in the top third with the eyes about just above the upper third line. So, and apparently we're doing really well on that at the moment. If you're doing a picture-in-picture situation, you can slide your speaker to one side, put a picture on one side or the other. So using that as you go along. If you're adding graphics to your shot, typically you would use a lower third. That's where people's names would appear on newscasts. That's where you would see titles come up, not so much the crawl at the bottom where there's advertising more news with the news, or across the top, or bring your speaker down a little bit and do an upper third graphic. It just depends on what you're trying to do. Most of the time, you'll have your lower third graphic instead of an upper third graphic because you want to keep your speaker as high as you can get it with a little bit of headroom. Headroom meaning enough room above their head to be able to see the whole picture. You don't want to cut somebody off in the middle of their forehead or at the kneecaps. So unless you're just going for that. So what we try to do is keep that upper third rule for the person that you have on camera, and keep graphics or picture-in-picture to one side. Framing your shot is just key. You have to make sure that it looks good and that you're not filming a kneecap shot where you're supposed to be trying to film somebody speaking. And thinking about this, you may want to make sure, do I want a full body shot? Do I want just a head shot? Or do I want a mid-torso shot up? And a lot of times we'll just do a mid-torso shot and have a second camera, a bail camera, to get a little bit more in case we need to make an edit, or in case we need to give the guy that's doing the tight shot a rest, because it takes a lot to run a camera. So keep those tips in mind when you're trying to frame up your shot. All right, staying along with our video topic, there are so many things you can do. Unfortunately, there's not a standard in video for anything. You've got frame rate issues. You've got how many lines that are on your screen, how many different kind of connections are coming in. Are you using an analog connection with your digital connections? Are you using just digital or using just analog? Things that most people wouldn't even think about. And there are 1,500 different kind of connectors that go into that. So to get all that back into one place, other than doing all this in what we call post-production or editing after we shoot the video, which we are doing here, is getting everything into a video switcher. There are inexpensive switchers, just like inexpensive cameras. I'm not saying you have to go get the biggest, best broadcast version of a switcher to get in there. You can get little inexpensive ones. Blackmagic just happens to make one that will get all of your sources into one switcher. So you can do this if you so choose. In this way, you can shoot with more than one camera. You have your close-up shot, you can have your wide shot, your bail shot, and you can even have another shot, a roaming shot or whatever that you want to get into that camera, or into your video. So using that video switcher, you can also add graphics. Just make sure it has what we call an alpha key, so that you can put your graphics through ProPresenter, PowerPoint, whatever, on a black background, and what we call keying out or taking out that background. and creating an overlay over your video. So that way it's you can put it in your lower third and be able to project your graphics while you're doing your video. So we do a lot of this like you would see in a football game or at a larger church or something like that that has all this stuff doing. They have an alpha key to put the graphics across your video with your camera image. So we call the camera images image magnification. There's a reason for that, because we want to magnify the image. You don't want a wide shot. You want to make sure that the people in the back of the room are seeing a magnified image of what they're seeing on stage, because they already see the wide shot in reality. So make sure that if you are doing a multi-camera shoot, depending on what your budget and your talent allows, that if you're using image magnification, you're using it for image magnification. If you're doing it just for a webcast, obviously they're going to want to see the room. Right now, not all of us have a lot of people in our rooms. Unless you have a few key people sitting in front of you, more of a discussion type situation, and then you can back out and actually see a few heads. Not all switchers are inexpensive. We understand that. Tech gear is notorious to be the most expensive thing. And it's hard to get into that. And so just to encourage you, we don't always have to have the biggest and best stuff. Even sometimes at Biltmore, we don't always have the biggest and best stuff, but we use what we have. And we try to make the best of that situation. The whole key thing to this is to get the gospel message out, not to be flashy. Yes, there are times for that, but using our tools that we have to create that video is the thing that we have to concentrate on. And I know that there are probably people out there that can afford that pretty easily, but they'd have to tithe more. We're not trying to get people to tithe more. So anyway, all joking aside, make sure that you're using what you have.